So, I'm not even allowed to go swimming in this place. If my dog walks over there, well, it's been years, but it's a big deal. No stickers, parked in the bowl spot. This isn't a problem. But as Robin said, even if I park in the shade for a half an hour, if I come home for lunch, that's fine worthy. But if you sell crack and heroin and you're a registered nurse to people half your age, then Hillcrest has no problem with that. But if you make a complaint that you're afraid of a man who threatened to put a hammer in your head for no apparent reason, the police laugh it off. Nobody takes it seriously. Which, if that were all it were, that would be one thing. But they fine me because I don't want to park next to that guy. My assigned spot is next to the dangerous pimp, semi-dealing dude who, as I said, it's not just my word. That's why I recorded him, because they act like I'm exaggerating or making stuff up. But I just find it amazing that if I even try to go swimming, they must have written at least 3 police reports, if not 4 police reports, starting with, I made a comment to some big guy who had a baby without swimmer diapers on, and I tried to politely say how disgusting that is to put an infant in a pool without the proper diapers. And he started swinging at me in the water. And although he didn't touch me, the lifeguard coddled him. And then the next day I went down there, insisted that I write my name, address, and phone number when I sign in. And I didn't want to do that. I put my name. I signed in. But I said I'll do it when I leave, or, whatever it was. And I didn't put the right info. I just wanted to go in the pool and do therapy. Something I really need for my health. And the police were called because of that. And then the next time, it's something to do with the material of, I've gotten so fat, I was wearing like leggings, yoga, pedal pushers and a yoga top. I don't have a bathing suit that fits me, to be honest. But that became an issue, that the material of my bathing suit wasn't allowed. And she says this to me in front of her friends in their Levi cutoffs, swimming with another baby without swimmer diapers, by the way. And because I recorded that bothers them. That makes me obnoxious because I'm just documenting the bullshit in front of me. Police were called again then, and the lifeguard told the cops that I grabbed her arm. And even though the entire thing is recorded and I obviously did not ever grab her arm, that's how the police report reads. So there may be only 2 police reports, but I think there was a third, I can't remember, but all bullshit. And the police are more than happy to embellish for these people as they wish. And the police report writing started back in with the McNairs when I, again, politely ask, Pam, do you know anything about my brakes being taken off my bike? I mean, maybe it has some, and all I did was ask that. She went off on me, called the police on me, and I don't think the police ever came, but still just, actually, I never bothered to find out if a report was written. You just assume it's not, because it's complete bullshit or petty. But, I have to point out the only reason I asked her about the brakes was because he was down there with his friends the afternoon before taking bikes apart. That it didn't even occur to me they were stolen bikes at the time. It was like they set up shop in the foyer of our building. And I had just moved here like probably only been here a year, probably, yeah, it was like, I think the summer of 2002. But anyway, that's how it started, and then, and then the next time that I had well, actually the only time, the very first time I blew up on somebody was when they took my clothes out of either the washer or the dryer before they were even done. And I was like, why would you do that? And it was like, it didn't even make sense. It was a lady that used to live in where Regina lives now. I can't remember her name. And I flipped out on her. I definitely yelled at her. But I had every reason to yell at her. And, and she tried to defend herself. She's like, oh, I'm just trying to get it in before the time, before the curfew, whatever they call it, when, I don't remember. But it was, like, always stupid, petty stuff. And then of course, there was a time when one of Glynis's pimpsters smashed the door when I was in the laundry room. And I can't believe I didn't call the police then. But I was like, I naively don't want to see people get in trouble. I don't want to see people get in jail. They're not bothering me. They've got their own fucked up world. Why should I add to it? I hope they work it out. That's actually how I used to think. And I always minded my own business, kept to myself. And then, I don't know, then there's the gunshot next door, and the guy got shot in the leg or something. There's a lot of stuff that happened. Always the police here, always fire trucks here. But then first, I never really had a problem with anybody. I was always the one to, when these guys were on ladders, got mugged on payday, had like hundreds of dollars stolen from them, their head bleeding. They're trying to talk to the police weren't helping them. And I try to call help them on it was a Nextel at the time, and it was loud, and the police kept saying, what is your name? And I said, I don't really want to give my name. I just want to translate for these guys. Always trying to be the good neighbor, always trying to help when someone is in trouble. And somehow I get turned into the bad guy. It's amazing. And then the 2006, it all blew up. For some reason, all the women in the building, starting with Robin and Carol, Pam, Dolores, and Glynis, would sit on the stairs, and they would just laugh at how my kitty litter smelled, I guess. They could smell cats through my door, they would say, and they would laugh that my starter didn't work on my car, and so I had to push start my car. And as I've said before, sometimes I would laugh along because it was really funny, but I had been given tapes by 2020 because I started seeing Dr. Furman at the time, and I was like a guinea pig. So they asked me to keep a food diary and my eating habits diary. So I had all this extra tape, and I ended up trying to talk to the producer and say, it's not just night snacking that makes me fat. It's this stress that I'm living under. And there's really this racism going on because all of the women, except for Robin, who I'm not sure if she's black, she could be light skinned, but that seemed to be something that they held dearly in common. And I couldn't help but notice that. And they became fast friends based on bashing me. And so I started recording them. And for recording them, it just escalated and became worse and worse when all I was doing was holding the mirror, thinking you'd think they'd check themselves. They would realize they owe me an apology. And then from 2006 until today, it's just been worse and worse and worse. And in fact, I went away for months at a time in 2007, so trying to get my yoga career, whatever you want to call it, going. And I almost got out of here. But then they started in again with the parking fines. That might have been closer to 2008, but it was like I don't even see these people. I don't talk to these people. but they come after me. And then I went away for a year. Actually, I went away for like 6 months, or not quite 6 months, but then I want to say 2009 or 2010, I was gone for the whole year. And I forget about this shit that goes on here. And then I come back, and Robin starts up with me again. When I literally, I think I hadn't been fine since 2008. And so here we are, 2011. And I parked in the shade. It was really hot. And that was when I had the can't even park there for your lunch hour conversation with Robin. And and that was the year that she burst through the door with her mother-in-law. Her mother, she always corrects me on which it was, because the key would always break for all of us. And it was frustrating. But she, the one you'd least expect, just like barreled, what do you call it? Battering rammed her way right through the door, and her mother, and I was sitting right at the couch by the open window, and I heard them giggling, and the mother said, "I can't believe you just did that." And I can't believe I didn't record it. I wasn't quite in the habit of documenting every single thing, because you just want to believe it's gonna fix itself. But then I didn't even tell. I might have told Ray, but I didn't call the police. And then that same year, like it was just weeks later, there was a community meeting. And Officer Andre Wright was there as the community officer, and he gave his little spiel. There's a bunch of people there. And I was just, seeing what was going on. And then I noticed Robin takes the police officer aside and seems to be whispering to him, and they're both looking at me. And I was like, no. So, of course, I have to go over there to see what in the world she's saying. And then he says to me something like, "Is it true? Are you calling her names? Did you call her fat?" It was that ridiculous, the conversation. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Here I am standing here with all the stuff that goes on here, and I'm being talked to like it's a kindergarten class. And I said, "Did she mention that she broke through the door, like actually broke the wood, etc.?" And she's like, "Liar, liar." And it was kind of like, I think that was another reason why she tried to create a distraction around what she had done. That's one theory. And of course the other theory is, as something that came out of Pam's mouth was, "You think you're all that," or that might have been Dolores. And it's like, what? Or better, Officer Martinez said to me, when I had set up a blog or a message board that I meant to be, something good for the community, turned into this back and forth where they were actually saying unbelievably libelous and slanderous things. And to this day, I still have that printed out and saved online somewhere. But he said to me, but you're better than them, right? And he said that in a way that was like, I thought he meant, you're better than that. You're going to take the high road. I wanted to think that's what he meant, but now I realize, along with them, he thought that I was just this, like, they call me white girl. And it's like, I maybe have it easier in some ways, or I think I'm better, and I certainly don't want to call it a jealousy, but I don't have the words for why they were so bent on tearing me down, and all of this ugliness for no reason. But the reason I won't let this go is because there's a paper trail of police reports that each one of them contributed to destroying, even just their minor nothing. But when you see all of these papers, and then I'm in Bikram yoga training, and Bikram says to me, "Why does